On Chicago's bike map, there are five categories of bike infrastructure: protected bike lanes, neighborhood greenways, bike lanes slash buffered bike lanes, marked shared lanes, and off street trails. Of those five, the least obvious is the neighborhood greenway. Neighborhood greenways, as it turns out, are pretty interesting. Basically, instead of adding a bike lane to a main road like Addison, they add a bike lane on a residential neighborhood street. Today I rode through this section in Lakeview. There are two greenways because both Roscoe and Aldine slash School Street are one ways. At the time I went, there was very little traffic, and it was really pleasant, actually. The other day, when I was exploring the neighborhood greenways in Edgewater, the traffic was awful and it made the greenways pretty uncomfortable. But today in Lakeview, it was very nice. Also, contrary to Edgewater, these residential streets in Lakeview do not have an overwhelming number of speed bumps. There are spots where there are a couple in quick succession, but there are also long stretches without them. But what is most interesting about this particular greenway is what happens here at Broadway and at Lakeshore Drive. You'll see on the map that the streets are basically disconnected at Broadway, and the methods in which they connect these sections are very interesting. On Broadway, I'd always seen this very small stretch of sidewalk level bike lane and never really understood its purpose until today. It flows with the rest of the greenway really well and makes a lot of sense. Then get to here, Lakeshore Drive. It gives you a little green path to cross, then dumps you onto the sidewalk and puts you at this really scary ramp thing. Biking down it seems pretty hazardous, and they did put these large convex mirrors to help, but it's just asking for a collision if you ride down. But then you cross under and get right to the lakefront trail, which is nice. So the question is, should the city just start building greenways in place of bike lanes? Because in theory, it's less disruptive to traffic flow on the main roads, is probably politically a lot easier to get done, and wouldn't cyclists prefer the calmer environment? And my opinion is not exactly. Greenways and bike lanes serve different purposes. I didn't do a time study comparing the time to destination on a greenway versus on a major road, but my guess, given the number of stop signs and speed bumps, is that on a day with more traffic, the greenway would be somewhat slower. And also, a lot of the destinations I go to are off of the major roads, so there would still be some leg of the journey where I'd likely have to brave the nasty high speed traffic. And there are areas where you really can't build a greenway, specifically Division Street and North Avenue around the north branch of the Chicago River. These are basically the only ways to get from the northwest side to the north side at that latitude. But that being said, I don't think they should stop building greenways. I personally see it as a different use case. For me, biking is a form of transportation, and I bike in a way that speed is my primary concern. I know there are a lot of other folks in the city that would not be as comfortable riding full speed down Clark Street, even with the bike lane. For these people, or people just wanting to casually enjoy the city on a bike, the greenways seem fantastic. Again, it's dependent on traffic, but you don't feel out of place taking it slow on these. But as of right now, the stretches of greenway in the city are sort of sporadic, so I'm interested to see where the city goes with these in the future and how they position them to cyclists. Thanks for watching.